If your laptop sounds like it's preparing for takeoff every time you open a game or even just a few browser tabs, there's a reason. Modern processors push so much power through such thin chassis that the internal cooling just can't keep up, and when temperatures climb too high, your machine quietly slows itself down to survive. You lose frame rates, rendering takes forever, and over time, the heat actually degrades your hardware. A good cooling pad fixes that. I've tested a ton of them, and these 7 are the ones worth your money. Links to all of them are in the description. Let's get into it. The Kootek laptop cooling pad is where I'd point most people first, and here's why. 5 fans. 1 big one in the center, 4 smaller ones around it. That spread matters because laptop manufacturers can't seem to agree on where to put intake vents. Some are in the center, some off to the side, some are barely there at all. With 5 fans covering the whole surface, you're basically guaranteed airflow where it counts. The metal mesh acts as a heat sink on its own, so even before the fans spin up, heat is being pulled away from the chassis. 6 height levels, 2 independent fan switches so you can run quiet mode with just the center fan during normal work, then blast all 5 when things get intense. I've used it under a 17-inch workstation during a long render session and the thing didn't budge. Not a wobble. It's chunky, sure, not something you'd toss in a backpack for the morning commute, but that's the point. It sits on your desk like furniture and just does its job day after day. Okay, but what if your laptop runs seriously hot? Like a high-wattage gaming machine with a top-tier graphics card that could probably fry an egg on the keyboard? That's Llano V12 territory. This thing is wild. Forget multiple small fans. It uses one massive 5.5-inch turbofan surrounded by a memory foam gasket that seals against the bottom of your laptop. So instead of gently wafting air upward and hoping some of it finds an intake vent, it creates a pressurized chamber and forces air straight through the copper heat sinks inside your machine. 15 to 25 degree drops. I'm not exaggerating. For laptops that thermal throttle under heavy loads, that can mean the difference between stuttery gameplay and buttery smooth performance at full boost clocks. And here's the funny part. Your laptop's own fans get so much help that they barely spin up, so the overall setup can actually be quieter than running without the pad. It does need its own wall plug, and it's big, like really big. The foam gasket also raises the front edge quite a lot, so you'll want a separate keyboard for comfort. But look, if maximum cooling is your goal and everything else is secondary, nothing else on this list comes close. The Havit HVF2056 is the polar opposite philosophy. 3 slim fans, 1100 RPM, practically invisible noise levels. You could use this in a library and nobody would know it's there. It slides into a laptop bag like a notebook and runs off USB power. No adapter, no extra cables cluttering your setup. The cooling effect is gentler, 4 to 8 degrees, but that's not the point. For an ultrabook or a mid-range laptop that gets warm but isn't melting down, those few degrees are often exactly the buffer you need to keep the processor from throttling during a long work session. I actually think this is the one most people should buy. Not everyone has a fire-breathing gaming laptop. Most of us just have a machine that gets uncomfortably hot on our laps during video calls, and the Havit handles that beautifully for very little money. The only real quirk is a faint new plastic smell right out of the box that fades after a few days of use. Now, the Chillcore K11 does something interesting that none of the others do. 9 fans. 9. They're smaller individually, but they blanket the entire underside of your laptop in a uniform sheet of moving air. Why does that matter? Because even if your laptop has weird vent placement, or vents on one side but not the other, something is always pushing air where it needs to go. What surprised me though is how quiet it is. You'd expect 9 motors to produce a racket, but the vibration dampening in this thing is genuinely impressive. 8 height adjustment levels, which is more than anything else here, and users have noticed that just tilting the laptop up before even turning the fans on drops temperatures by 2 or 3 degrees, because the internal fans can finally breathe. It has RGB lighting in 10 modes and a phone holder mounted on the side, which sounds gimmicky until you realize how handy it is to have your phone at eye level while you're gaming. The RGB can't be dimmed though, so if you're in a dark room, it's, well, festive. Compared to the Kootek, think of it this way. The Kootek is brute force coverage with bigger fans. The Chillcore is finesse, spreading gentler airflow everywhere and giving you maximum ergonomic control over your setup. The Razer laptop cooling pad is for people who want their cooling pad to be smarter than they are, and I mean that as a compliment. Sealed pressure chamber, swappable foam gaskets for different laptop sizes, a 140mm fan that moves serious air. But the headline feature is Razer Synapse integration. The pad reads your CPU and GPU temperatures in real time and adjusts fan speed automatically. You launch a demanding game, the fan ramps. You close it and start browsing, the fan drops to a whisper. You never think about it. 10 to 15 degree reductions consistently, and it works with non-Razer laptops too. Asus, Alienware, Lenovo, all confirmed by plenty of users. Because the fan is so large, it produces this deep, low-pitched airflow sound instead of the sharp whine you get from smaller turbofans, which makes a huge difference over a 4-hour gaming session. The software can be a bit temperamental after firmware updates, occasionally needing a manual reset, but the physical controls work independently, so you're never actually stuck without cooling. It's the most expensive option here, but the automation alone makes it worth serious consideration if you hate fiddling with settings. Switching gears completely, the TeckNet laptop cooling pad is for people who don't want to think about cooling pads at all. 2 fans, mesh surface, 4 tilt positions, USB pass-through so you keep your port. Done! It draws so little power you can run it on battery without noticing any difference in runtime. Dead silent. You'll check the LED lights just to confirm it's actually on. This is the one for MacBook users, Surface owners, Dell XPS people, Chromebook users. Machines that don't thermal throttle violently but do get annoyingly warm against your wrists or your lap during long sessions. It won't perform miracles on a gaming rig, but that's like complaining a city car can't tow a boat. Wrong tool for that job. Right tool for everything else. And finally, the Targus AW55 US, which honestly might be the most underrated product on this list because it solves a problem nobody else is even trying to address. It's a lap pad. Soft neoprene bottom, angled top, built specifically for using your laptop on a couch, in bed, on an armchair. Most cooling pads are rigid plastic or metal slabs that slide around the second you put them on your legs. The Targus grips fabric, stays put, and insulates you from chassis heat that can literally cause skin discomfort over extended use. The fans inside provide a modest temperature drop, but the real value is that thermal barrier between you and the machine. Picture a Sunday afternoon. You're watching something on the couch, laptop on your legs, and instead of repositioning every 3 minutes because the heat is unbearable, you just forget about it. 17-inch compatibility, simple USB plug-and-play. Giving it an occasional blast of compressed air keeps the fans clean and quiet for years. Alright, so here's the honest breakdown. Maximum raw cooling power, nothing beats the Llano V12 and its sealed turbofan system. Smart automated cooling where you set it and forget it, Razer all day. Big desk setup for a heavy laptop, Kootek for stability, or Chillcore for ergonomic flexibility, and that 9-fan blanket coverage. Traveling light and needs silence, the Havit fits your bag and your budget. Everyday productivity laptop that just runs warm, TeckNet keeps things cool without you even noticing. And if you actually use your laptop on your lap, the Targus is the only one designed for exactly that. All the links are down in the description. Hope this made your decision easier. See you in the next one.